Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Seigel. I am so excited about this next episode. So this is our quick tip episode. We just break down a couple things. And today we're talking about the Practice Owner's AI Toolkit. And AI isn't coming for your practice. It's already here. So the question is whether you're using it or falling behind. And today I want to talk about a couple things that might help you. And so AI is not a threat. It's a time machine. The practices that will thrive in 2026, 2027, and beyond are not the ones with the biggest teams or the biggest budgets. They're the ones that are figuring out how to use AI to do the work of 3 employees in the time of 1. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Systems run companies, people run systems. AI is a system. That's not an exaggeration. I see it. It's happening. So you don't need to understand necessarily how AI works, although we had a different episode on this, but you need to understand, most importantly, what it can do and how to use it. Because then you can really shape the experience of how you really efficiently do more with less. And so all in all, like I see AI in healthcare, these are things to keep in mind. $45 billion is the projected value of AI in healthcare. 30 to 40% of administrative tasks in a typical practice can now be handled with current AI tools. I'm going to say that again. What if I could eliminate 30 to 40% of the functions that your administrative staff do? 22% fewer no-shows reported by practices using AI scheduling. AI scheduling, imagine if the schedule could literally fit 6 different appointments all around, reposition everything. Imagine if you never, ever, 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 ever had to talk to an employee or a patient about scheduling again. The technology is there. 64% of patients say they're comfortable with AI being used for administrative tasks. 45% of AI-assisted documentation reduces clinician time and notes. It's huge right now. I'm seeing it. Scribing is amazing. And 18% of private practices currently use a form of AI. Only 18%. Very small. So the gap between early adopters and late adopters is widening every quarter. The practices that start now, even imperfectly, will have a compounding advantage over those who wait for a perfect solution. It's there. You got to use it. And so I'm going to give you 3 quick wins that you can have right off the bat. Email responses. AI can handle a lot of your email responses. Note summaries. We can do AI transcriptions and all different things that can really change the way that we clinically document. Schedule coordination. AI can handle every ounce of scheduling. It's there. Use it. And so when we're looking at this, I want you to implement this really simply. For each quick win, follow one rule. Use it for 2 weeks before judging it. And so pick one task. Choose a low judgment, high frequency task, okay? Then I need you to test that for 2 weeks. Refine your prompts and workflow during the trial. And then I want you to measure and expand and track over time. So something as an example is if your EMR does not have a scheduler, you should invest in a scheduling agent. There are HIPAA-compliant AI scheduling agents. They will log in to your schedule. They will handle all aspects of it, creating the interface and more. Starting to get down that path is going to help you. And so I want you to open a free AI tool this week, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever it may be. And I want you to ask it to draft a response to the most common email your front desk receives. Read what it gives you. Edit it if needed. That's it. That's your first AI quick win. Everything else can build from there. And so I think this is so important. And so these are things that I want you to think about in terms of AI tools right now. So one thing I'm going to say, this coming from me, owning a medical billing agency, I believe that by the end of 2027, every single practice in the world should be using AI for authorizations and eligibility. Plain and simple. I do. It's there. We're really needing to look at things and to push ourselves. But on top of that, I want you to look at documentation and notes. What are the ways that you can create that? So whether your EMR has it or third-party integration, or even things like I use Fireflies for my meetings and Freed AI or Otter.ai. There's all these different ways, obviously looking at if it's HIPAA compliant, all that, but documentation, note-taking, and being able to pull, because what I do is I take all that raw data and it can become 100 different ways that I can write it into home programs. I can write it into clinical notes. I can write it into reminders to the patient, etc. Recognizing that one piece of data can get reused in so many different ways for a patient. Scheduling and no-shows, things like Clara, Next Health, Luma Health, all these things are AI-powered reminders. One of the companies that I love, shout out to Curogram. Curogram will make you more money than it costs. In literally, I bet you will make more in 1 month than the entire cost for a year. But again, you have to use it. So looking at AI-powered reminders and automated rescheduling, two-way patient messaging, you could cut no-shows by 20%. Imagine if I gave you 100% delivery. How much is that worth to you? I know I'm passionate, but this is what it takes. Stop doing the same crap over and over again. Become an innovator, create the rules of automation, improving your patient experience. Plain and simple. Content marketing. Oh my gosh, marketing has improved so much because of that. So whether you're using chat, whether you're using Claude, whether you're using Jasper, there's a million of these, but you can do newsletters, social posts, patient educations. I can have 10 years worth of social media done with AI today. Stop paying for social media specialists. Utilize the brains of people to create the calendar. Let AI facilitate the actual execution. Front desk automation. I'm a big believer. AI chatbots, all different ways. You can do phone answers. It's all there. So again, pick one thing, implement it, see how the effect is, and create more opportunities. And then the other thing to think about is analytics and insights. There's so many different ways for us to calculate data. We used to rely on our EMR for data. Now we just need raw data. AI can give us all the graphs, the pictures, the everything. Looking at Google Looker Studio plus AI, it can turn your practice into plain English summaries and trend reports without a data analyst. There's so many different ways for you to use this data. And so you just got to know what's out there. You got to research it. You got to create a problem, solve a problem, or I should say, identify a problem, solve a problem, and create your AI prompt. So one of the things that I'm always doing is I'm refining my prompts notebook. And so a prompt is only as good as how often you use it. And I start to build my prompts, and then I reference prior prompts. The problem is most people write a great prompt once and they get a great result and then they can't remember it. So understanding and storing your prompts, keeping a prompt file can really help you so that you're organized. And that might be something I create in the future is top 150 prompts I use to save a private practice. Maybe that's my next book. I don't know. But what you want to put in your swipe file. Your swipe file should cover the documentation and communication tasks that your team does most often. Build it gradually. Add a new prompt every time you find one that works. Within 90 days, you'll have a resource for your entire team. This can include clinical documentation, SOAP note structure prompts, discharge summary templates, referral letter drafts, etc. Patient communication, appointment reminder scripts, no-show follow-up language, post-visit checks. Operations admin might have meeting agenda generation, policy draft templates, job description frameworks. I mean, so much, it just keeps going. And so The anatomy of a great prompt. Most AI prompts underperform not because the AI is bad, but because the prompt is vague. A great prompt has 4 components, okay? Get these right and your output will rock and roll. So here's the deal. First one is role. You are a healthcare practice manager writing a patient communication. Give the AI context who it is. Second is context. The tone should be warm but professional. The patient has been with us for 2 years. Give relevant details. For me, I upload 150 hours of me talking and then I say context, write it in Brandon's passion voice, literally. Task, draft a follow-up email to a patient who missed the appointment. That's the task. And then format, return 3 subject line options and keep the email under 100 words. Specify the output structure you want. So again, role, context, task, format. Role, context, task, format. See? Got it? Good. That's the anatomy of a great prompt. So you're not trying to become an AI expert. You're trying to build a toolkit. And that toolkit is going to help your team so that you can use it without thinking about it. A swipe file is just a folder, a Google Drive, a Notion, a shared doc, whatever you want. Start with 5 prompts. The goal isn't perfection. It's a place to start and a habit of adding to it. And so I think it's so important. I do it on Monday.com. You can do it on different things. I get no skin in the game from Monday.com, although I would love for them to be a sponsor one day because I use their product more than most. And so understanding all of this is really important. And so one of the things that I know that, ethics and compliance is something that people worry about. So AI is powerful. It's also new. And in healthcare, new tools come with real compliance, complexities and responsibilities. So before you deploy AI tools in your practice, you need to understand the guardrails. And this isn't to scare you off, but it's meant for you to think with it. And so we got to make sure for HIPAA compliance. We got to make sure data storage and sovereignty. We got to make sure informed consent and human oversight. And I'm going to say that again because I know it was fast. So HIPAA compliance, any AI tool that touches patient data in any way, PHI, needs to be HIPAA compliant. The way it's stored, if it has patient health information, you need to look at the storage and the sovereignty of it. You need to make sure you know if it's within your jurisdiction or not. Informed consent. If AI is being used in any way for clinical decision support, patients have a right to know. You must build disclosure forms in your intake process, sharing how you utilize it. So if you're doing scribing and there's any form of it, you should have a release form that says our documentation is utilizing AI based around clinicians' clinical instincts and recommendations, whatever you want. And then there must be human oversight. So AI should augment clinical judgment, never replace it. Every AI generated output in a clinical context should be reviewed by a qualified human before acting on it. And so the practice that will get in trouble with AI aren't the ones who use it. They're the ones who use it without reading the fine print. And so we just got to really think from that standpoint. And one of the things I wanted to talk about also is this idea of how do we use automated transcription and AI action items. And so every important conversation in a practice, team huddles, vendor calls, performance reviews, strategy sessions contain decisions and follow-ups, and they often get lost within 24 hours. So automated transcription combined with AI extraction closes that gap permanently. I used to use Zoom Record and now I use Fireflies. Fireflies gives you the video, it gives you all different ways for you to slice and dice the data. And I just think that being able to take that to the next level is really important. And so, this is for recording a meeting, whether you're using Otter AI, Fireflies, your phone's built in, you should be recording your meetings with consent, inform all participants that the meetings are being recorded. You can transcribe it automatically. So most tools produce a transcript within minutes of the meeting, review for accuracy, especially clinical or industry specific terminology. You can extract with AI, so you can paste that transcript into your AI and prompt, extract all actions, decision makings, follow-ups, but sometimes it's built in to the actual AI system and then distribute that summary. And I do that with all my coaching sessions. So if you get coaching with me, that's part of what we do. And again, for those who are hearing, oh, I thought he no longer does coaching. I coach anyone that's in our medical billing program. They get one-to-one coaching with me. They get Brandon in their pocket. So if you need medical billing, obviously you know who to call. Now, how many follow-ups from last month's team meeting actually happened? And I ask you that. If you can't answer that with confidence, you have no accountability. And you have an accountability gap is really what I should say. And it's probably not about your team's intentions. It's about the system. And so transcription and AI extraction is the cheapest accountability tool you'll ever implement. You know, again, we utilize Monday.com. They've got AI built into it, and we do a lot of accountability with that as well. These are just different things. And so what I want you to recognize is that you need to implement with your team that the systems that we build on their behalf are going to help them do more with less. And so training your team to use AI without fear. The biggest barrier to AI adoption in private practice isn't the technology, it's the team. Staff feel threatened and they will resist it. And so frame it as a time saver, not a job taker. This tool handles the repetitive stuff so your team can focus on the work that actually requires you. Lead with the benefit to them, okay? Start with volunteers. Find the team members that want to be part of this. Build it into workflows, not around them. AI tools that require extra steps get abandoned. So integrate them into existing processes so that adoption is frictionless. And then celebrate the early wins publicly. Imagine if I were able to give everyone a $150 bonus this month because we saved 10 hours of work or whatever that is. You know, coming up with different ways to celebrate this is going to be really crucial because change management is the real implementation challenge. And so the technology is the easy part. We need to embrace that change management mindset. And so as we're looking at this, some people that have spoken, again, looking at the experts, Bill Gates says the first rule of any technology used in business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. The second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. I love that. Sidney Harris said the real danger is not that computers will begin to think like men, but that men will begin to think like computers. The right relationship with AI is one of augmentation and use it to do more with what matters and less of what doesn't. The practices that thrive in the next decade will be the ones that adopt this early. And so as I look at our kind of recaps, it's important to start with the quick wins, those repetitive tasks, emails, notes, scheduling, etc. Build your swipe file, your best prompts that you store in a shared document. Structured prompts with role, task, context, format, all are going to help you. And then transcribe your meetings, extract them with action items, and automate accountability of those action items. So I thank you for being part of this episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, share us with other practice owners because together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.